let's go through a list of people here that should be buyers or sellers when next week hits with the trade deadline. Do you think the Yankees should be selling, staying put?
Yeah, and I maintain with their selling, they'd actually be doing a better service for their season to still compete. See, I think there's a flaw in thinking that if you sell, you're giving up. I really believe the Yankees have such three weapons that they could forego one of them and add to their team and make their team better. And I know a lot of people look at that and say, well, what do you mean? I said, well, 3's nice, 4's better. I mean, the Royals had 4, but I think the formula and the inability for them to pitch deeper in the game just gives them a lesser chance, believe it or not, to get to the postseason, in my opinion, because you have to use those 3 guys almost every game. And that's just not something that you could look forward to in the second half, that's going to be a viable option. I mean, they got to blow some teams out, which they haven't. They've had the third least amount of leads after the 6th inning than anybody in baseball. But their record, and it's so tempting and tantalizing to know those 3 guys are waiting there. But I still maintain you can make your future of your organization in such a different way because these guys are so good that if you're not in position to really go and win it all, why not think about doing one of those 2 things and really change your franchise? Because the demand's going to be great.
Sure. So which one would you cough up? Which one?
The interesting thing is it probably wouldn't demand the most just because he becomes a free agent after the year and Chapman, but you could definitely let Chapman, unless you're just totally going to sign him in the offseason, you could actually trade him and still sign him if the other team that trades him doesn't do that because he becomes a free agent. But Miller probably would demand the most. I think that's the one guy that is under contract and could be a closer for anybody. I think ultimately you end up with Betances as your future, but it's sure intriguing to play general manager fantasy and sit there and go, man, I can get 2 impact guys immediately that can play for my team right now, or 1 impact and 3 dynamic prospects. You can start asking. Teams are going to get desperate. You've got to sell as high as you possibly can or trade as high as you possibly can. And that's why you can go out there and say these guys aren't on the market, which I never believe. You're just trying to drive the price up.
Baseball Hall of Famer John Smoltz joining me here on the Rich Eisen Show. So I'm putting the kids down last night, and then I go back to my phone, and I see a notification that Aroldis Chapman had just thrown a 105.1 mile per hour pitch. And so I wanted to go see that right away. And it wasn't even hittable, John. So the question is to you, are you impressed when you see that number hit? I mean, what do you think of as a top-notch all-time pitcher,
Well, I'm
John?
impressed with his arm, period. I just don't believe it. Like, I'm just not a believer of 105. I've always said that when a ball is down, when you throw a ball down, the reading is usually higher. I want to see 105 up. And if 105 comes up in the zone, then I might have to change my thinking. I just think there's flaws in some of the ways that we monitor and kind of, all of a sudden, how is it that we – Nolan Ryan was the guy that we all looked at and go, wow. Now it's every other day we're seeing a Nolan Ryan. I just don't understand how these numbers are getting to the point where 104, 105 is becoming common practice. So if I see it up, I'll be doubly impressed because downs usually is the pitch that I call it misregisters a higher speed.
Misregister. I like it. But none of this, John, has to do with that you and your colleagues were never asked to do a promo that chicks dig the fastball, right? Is that born out of this in some way, shape, or form?
Yeah, you know what? Subconsciously, you may have hit on something. No, I think we're so training these guys in such a different way that, I mean, my gosh, 100 miles an hour is 100 miles an hour. I don't care. You start messing around that. But to me, Chapman is much, much more effective when he is freer and easier than when he's forcing 103 and 104.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.